Hey guys, so in this video, I want to share with you guys the importance of listening and obeying the Holy Spirit. Before we get into any practical tools of evangelism and how to share your faith, I always share that the best evangelist is the Holy Spirit. And so we want to rely fully on the Holy Spirit, first of all, to be filled with the Holy Spirit. So if you are not, I just pray that you take the time to ask God, fill me with your Holy Spirit. He's the one that's going to give you that boldness, that wisdom, that guidance, that courage when you're going out to evangelize. And I share an amazing testimony that we saw on Facebook, and it really gives the example of the power of listening and obeying the Holy Spirit, even when it doesn't make sense, because oftentimes it won't. And that's because God is looking for us to fully trust in Him. So there's a friend of ours who's an evangelist that was eating a banana, walking through the mall, and he felt the Holy Spirit say, put this banana peel on top of your head and walk into the store. So of course, just like all of us, we would be questioning that and thinking, how crazy is this? Why would I put a banana peel on my head and walk into this random store? But guess what? He chose to obey. So he put the banana peel on his head and he walked into the store. And then the store owner looked at him and started weeping, started crying and saying, I am a Muslim. And I was just saying, Jesus, if you are really God, send somebody through my store, through those doors with a banana peel on their head. Come on, you can't make that stuff up. That is so incredible. And this is the power of listening and obeying the Holy Spirit's voice. And how you do that, how you practice, really comes from spending time in the secret place, right? Before we get into, the practical tools, we want to really build that close and intimate relationship with Jesus and the Holy Spirit so that we recognize His voice. And when we hear the voice, we obey. And I also want to encourage you guys, don't be afraid of getting it wrong, because this is the big struggle and the challenge when you're starting out. You're trying to discern, is this my own thoughts or is this the Holy Spirit speaking to me, right? And I really encourage you, just step out. The Lord, He says it's impossible to please God without faith, right? He admires and loves when His children step out in faith. And so He loves it when, maybe you even get it wrong. Maybe it's your thoughts, right? And sometimes when you're listening, when you're walking through your day-to-day life, constantly be praying. It says pray without ceasing. So ask the Holy Spirit, is there something you want me to say to somebody? Maybe you're in a lineup at a cafe, right? And just ask right now, be available and just say, Holy Spirit, is there somebody that you want me to talk to? Is there something that you want me to say or pray for? Somebody in this lineup. And you may get a word, you may get a picture. The Holy Spirit speaks to us differently and He'll speak differently at different times. But you maybe get like a word and say, maybe you feel back pain, right? And maybe you turn to the person behind you, say, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but I just felt the Lord speak to me and say something about back pain. Is that something that you struggle with? And let's just say, and this happens to me every now and then, and to my wife as well, when we go out and evangelize, we sometimes get it wrong, right? And sometimes the person's like, no, actually, I'm not, right? But what's amazing about this, first of all, God admires your obedience. You took that step of faith. And secondly, you already opened up the door, because what's most important now is you get to step into the evangelism. You get to step into sharing the gospel and say, hey, you know what? Sometimes I get it wrong, but I just want to obey. And by the way, I just want to share, this is what my testimony is. This is what God has done in my life. Maybe you can offer prayers or something that I can pray for you for, anything that you're going through. Maybe you're dealing with something else in your body that you're dealing with, physical pain. I'd love to pray for healing, wherever it is that the Holy Spirit is leading you. But even when you get it wrong, you still open up that door for you to evangelize and share the gospel. And as well, again, it's pleasing to the Lord to see your obedience to Him and to His Holy Spirit, and you're practicing, right? Then you kind of go in your thoughts. Maybe this was my thought. This is what the Holy Spirit sounds like. This is what my thought sounds like. And you start to learn and grow and mature in your faith in hearing the Holy Spirit. But the most important thing is just to listen, slow down your life, really listen, tune into what the Holy Spirit is saying, and then be quick to obey, because delayed obedience is still disobedience. Because there's so many moments, even for myself, I admit, where I delayed the obedience And I missed so many opportunities because I just questioned myself. I was like, oh man, is this really the Lord? Maybe it's my thoughts. But I realized it's better just to step into it and go for it. And so this is my first thing that I like to share before getting into any tools, is really leaning on the Holy Spirit and realizing that the Holy Spirit is the best evangelist. He knows exactly what the person needs to hear, when they need to hear it, and how they need to hear it. And even when you're in conversation with somebody, we like to train our team to pray and ask the Holy Spirit, what's the next thing that you want me to say? Is there a word? Is there something that they need to hear? Because oftentimes the Holy Spirit will direct the conversation. And there's no amount of tools, there's no amount of strategies that can fill this void of knowing exactly what the Holy Spirit is saying. Because when somebody hears directly from the Lord, that's when their heart just opens up wide. And God knows exactly what that person needs to hear. So this is my first really training and step for you guys to focus on, is listen to the Holy Spirit, obey his voice, and fully lean and rely on him in your evangelism journey. So I hope that encourages you guys. We're all in this together. God bless you, and let's advance his kingdom together. I'll see you guys in the next video.